what's up? It's Eli Knight with Knight Jiu-Jitsu, and I've got a video today about Kimuras, and this is something I haven't put a lot of attention to on my channel yet, mostly because there's a lot of really good systems out there, and if you want to check out really good Kimura trap systems, there's a lot of good stuff out there, especially David Avalon's work. He really kind of coined that term and did a lot of really cool stuff there. But I wanted to show, to kind of introduce you to the concepts of Kimuras and how we can maybe hit them in unconventional ways. And so I want to show Kimuras from almost every kind of position, even maybe from standing and stuff too. So to start out, just to show the basic mechanics of the Kimura, one of the best places to really observe it is from closed guard. So I'm going to take Riley here into closed guard, and basically the way we all first learn Kimura is I look at getting his hands to the ground, which is one of the main reasons we say don't put your hands on the floor whenever you're inside closed guard. So whenever we're here, what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to trace, I'm going to find the wrist here, I'm going to put my hand against my forehead, I'm going to sit up like this, open my guard, lace through here like this. I want to get down just above his elbow, and I'm going to pull into the tricep tendon. It's not necessary for me to necessarily connect my hands at this point. I can if it's available, but all that's really necessary is that I pull here. I'm going to push on his wrist to push the post out of the way here like this, and I want to sit to this side, and I'm going to pull back this direction. I may even use my feet to kind of arch to pull back if I'm having trouble getting him off his base. But once I have this here, I want to get this connected. Look for the 90-degree bend in his arm. Keep his elbow close to my chest. Now, sometimes it's appropriate to go no thumbs on both grips. Thumb on one, no thumb on the other, or thumb on both. It depends on the situation, depends on the position, depends on the execution and the angle. So for this one here, I'm going thumb on one, not thumb on the other. I'm gonna hip out to the side. If there's space for me to catch his leg here available, then I'll take it. If not, then I didn't need it. But I'm gonna hip out to the side, one like this here, two over here, connect my guard back, close my guard back, keep the elbow in the center of the chest, and I wanna think about taking his pinky finger to his ear over here this way, and it probably won't reach. Now, let's see some different positions where this pops up and some different ways that we can use this as a position, not only as a submission, because that's what's really awesome about it, is how we can connect it to different things. So one of the ways that this happens sometimes is from a modified guard position, maybe from him passing my guard, where I throw up a knee shield to kind of prevent the pass. So the idea is here, he's looking to kind of pass around. I'm putting this knee shield into place. I'm hooking the bottom leg, so this is a variation of half guard. I'm framing here against him to monitor, and he's trying to kind of push this leg through. So as he's trying to do that, I'm going to resist at first and kind of create some tension that he's kind of fighting against and support his weight. And then after that, I'm going to collapse this, shoot it past, and then wrap back through for this kind of figure four here like this. So we can also refer to this as a double wrist lock, as they do in catch wrestling sometimes. But as I'm going to now allow him to pass around my guard to the side he wanted to go to in the first place, and I'm going to keep this centered underneath him. Now, he may clear my leg, he may not clear my leg. Either way, once I get this position underneath him, right around lower than his belly button, right around his pelvis, and then from here, I'm going to turn, I'm going to bridge the direction of my left shoulder here, and I'm going to arch up as he's driving forward. So drive over me a little bit here. As he's driving over here this way, I'm going to bridge up, over, roll him up and off of me here. Once we get to this position, I want to use the connection that I have for the Kimura grip, and I want to slide up here behind his back where there's a wedge. This one's going to go over in front of him here. The knee may go to the ground, or it may just sandwich. I want to sit back and pull this up again here like this, and I want to take this hand around and behind his back this way to finish that seated Kimura from that top. Sometimes whenever I go for that one particularly, if the guy keeps driving forward, I can bridge him over and then wind up in that top position where we can finish from the top. But sometimes the guy will read that whenever I get here to this position. He'll feel me get here, and then he'll set the weight back because he knows if he keeps driving forward, I'm going to take him over the base, bridge, and sweep him over. So whenever he goes here and he sits his weight back so that I can't pull and bridge, I'm going to use this as a fulcrum or as a pivot point to keep my feet together. I'm going to pendulum my legs around here this way, spin, and then use that to take his back off of it like that. So I still have this kind of Kimura grip here like this. Now from here, I may elect to shoot back into the seatbelt kind of position, finish, start hunting for my choke or other submissions from here. Or I may be able to keep this and allow him then to try to start escaping from my guard here, and then use this to come to the top position. What I'll do here is, whenever we get to here, I'm gonna go belly down this way, here. And then now I can pull myself back to that top position we looked at before, or I can use this to put this to the floor hop over to the other side, and now we're in this top side control position where we look to finish here. If I'm gonna finish Kimura from the top side control position, standard kind of application is where I keep my hip dropped on this side, step up above his head so he can't really sit up too well, and use this to push myself back, keep this elbow positioned by his hip. I'm gonna sit back, pull up on the elbow, expand my chest, and push his hand this way to finish the execution of the lock that way. So we have Kimura from top side control position like that. Sometimes whenever we go for this top side control execution here, if I don't get my elbow wedged here and I don't have a good configuration just yet, and he starts to pull his arm in and resist this here, now I was able to get my hand inside, but I can't quite get his hand to the floor, then another variation that we can look to do is called a lot of times people refer to this as a genie variation. And the reason for that is that it looks kind of like I Dream of Jeannie when she used to do that thing, you know? So if we get here, and I have my hand wedged through, I'll let go of the wrist, come here, grab my tricep here like this, keep my hand on my shoulder, and then I'm gonna sit out the same kind of way, step above the head, and then finish here. Now it's pretty nasty because it still has a lot of the shoulder pressure, but it also has a bit of a compression lock on his forearm here that's very painful. Other variations that we can look to do from that, if I don't feel like I'm getting the leverage I need, I can pass around up to the other side of his head, sit down, and then finish the genie variation or the standard variation from this side over here. I usually refer to this as the wrong side Kimura because it's not the traditional side we finish on, but it's very painful. It's very difficult for him to turn one way or the other. So when we're talking about the top positions that we can look to finish the Kimura from, then one that pops up a lot is from knee on belly. And knee on belly can evoke a lot of good opportunities for submissions, but depending on the way that the guy's reacting by pushing and trying to relieve the pressure. So if Riley's here on bottom and I go knee on belly, like this here, and I'm kind of driving my knee in a little bit to elicit the response that he's trying to push the knee off of him here. Now from here, I can scoop this up and go for the full turning straight arm lock, but sometimes what's even more, what's appropriate for the energy that he's giving me is for me to grab here on the wrist. I'm gonna tuck, step around, drop this knee behind him, and we're in the seated position again. I tend to like to sandwich here with the knee still up, but you can always drop the knee down. It's either way. Depends on kind of what the energy he's giving you here. But now that I have his wrist, I shoot through. I'm gonna pull this direction and then sit back, finish, just like we talked about before from this top mounted position. One of the other benefits of this position here is if he's really resisting here and he's grabbing and trying to save his hand and I'm not quite getting the finish, is that I always have the option here to be able to drop to my side, pull him into place, and then go for this like leg scissor choke like this here. It's very powerful, and even if I'm not getting it, a lot of times it'll evoke the response for him to come up and defend, and then I can start taking the arm back, trying for Kimura once again. From this position offers us a couple of cool opportunities, and this may have happened for a couple different reasons. The two that I'm going to look at here is one, sometimes more of an untrained response or more of a response that I get if strikes are involved and the guy wants to kind of hold and protect himself and keep me low down to where I can't land sufficient seated strikes. Sometimes the guy will hug and grab on like this here. Now this is not a terribly smart thing for him to do, but out of desperation a lot of times this will happen. So what I'm going to look to do is I want to slide my knee up on one side and pick my knee up on the other side here like this. So now I'm hugging and trapping this arm inside here, and I'm going to make a frame like this to pop the grip in the back apart. Once I feel that grip break, I can come back here, trace the arm. I want to push here to get the wrist pushed down, and then I'm going to open the space, tuck my arm inside here, and then look to finish from this top position, straight from mount, from this kind of kneeling mount position. Another opportunity that we find sometimes, whether this were off of a sweep or sometimes it happens that he's starting to push my knee away. This is a response he gets here. Maybe he's trying a variation of an elbow escape or shrimping escape, and he's pushing down here on my leg. So I'm gonna grab here like this, I'm gonna trace around to this side here, and I'm gonna dig underneath the arm and get this Kimura configuration. Now, it's difficult for me to maintain the mount, so it may require me dismounting, or a variation that I like a whole lot to be able to execute this is to turn, put my head out here on the floor in front of the elbow, and then take my leg over and behind his head this way here. Once I have this here like connected behind his head, then I'm gonna roll to my left shoulder here in this case and pick him up onto his side, close the legs back like this here, and keep his head down, and now I can finish the execution of the Kimura from this position here. So another one worth mentioning as we're moving through these positions, rather than just kind of standardized position like mount, guard, side control, back mount, knee on belly, is what about standing versus seated? So if we're here and Riley's playing some kind of like seated guard with me like this, and then my foot's gonna step inside in between his legs like he's trying to do some kind of like seated guard, and then I want to see if maybe I can get him to open the wedge on this side over here. That might be me clubbing his head, it might be me grabbing his wrist, but if I feel like I can get past inside that wedge. I'm gonna roll here, I'm gonna drive my knee inside, hook the arm, go over my shoulder here, get the connection that I need, and then pin it back. So I have the double wrist lock position here like this. And we mentioned some different things that we can do from here. I can still like look to move top side control here like this, and then get the wrist to the floor, go here and finish. Or I can wait until he tries to turn and face me, because he can't really go that way very easily, but he can try to turn and face me. And when he does, if he scrambles, he's trying to get here, he's turning, then I can shoot inside here like this, look to retake the back and maintain the control of the Kimura, or just switch to the back and look for chokes and other attacks like that. Another opportunity for it that we see pops up sometimes is standing. And you see this a lot of times in MMA whenever somebody gets behind someone else and they're looking to defend some kind of rear clinch. So if Riley gets here and he's behind me in this rear clinch kind of position, then I want to try to get here, I want to push the thumbs down, walk my hips forward to try to break that grip. If I can break that grip here, I'm going to keep the cross side grip here on the wrist, and then this one here, I'm going to tuck through. Now there's no space here, so it may require me to duck here and get my hand inside and then refill the space. After doing that here, I'm gonna step one here like this, hook two here by his waist. And so once I get this foot hooked inside, I'm gonna kind of pistol squat and kick him up over my head, this way here. Then we find ourselves again in this top side position where I've talked about several different finishes before, and or just sliding up to seated position here, look to finish the Kimura. And that's how we can do one from standing whenever the guy has maybe a rear clinch, or you set this up some other kind of way. So anyway, guys, hopefully these are some different kind of entries, different kind of finishes from Kimura that you haven't really used before, or hopefully it has some good tips in there for you. Even if you've seen some of these, hopefully there's a little extra detail in there here or there. Let me know what you think about them, and I appreciate you all watching. Leave some comments, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Keep watching Night Jiu-Jitsu, guys. Thanks.